Now, buckle up. Your next act is a daredevil duo all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. They've traveled all over the world performing extreme stunts. You might have caught them on America's Got Talent in 2016, where they made it all the way to the live quarterfinals. They've been on Ellen. They've also been on the AGT Champion Series. And also, you can catch them coming up on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. But tonight, you guys get to see them up close and personal. We're so excited to have them. Give it up for AmberLynn and Ryan Scott! Yeah, buddy.
All right. Awesome. Well, this will be fun. Like for me, I don't know about you guys, but it'll be fun for me. You guys don't know what I do. I'm sure most of you don't know what we do here on stage, but the stuff that we do is a little bit weird. It's kind of it's called geek magic in a lot of circles. It's called sideshow. It's called freak show. It's a little bit strange. Now, throughout the show, I'm not exactly a magician, but I'm going to be doing tricks. So keep that in mind. And I'm not really a comedian, but the show is funny. It's just not funny like, haha, that's funny. It's a different kind of funny, like, that's funny, my brakes aren't working. You know, like, a different kind of funny. But we're going to work you guys into this slowly. We're going to work you into it easily. Now, he said we're from Las Vegas, Nevada, and we do live in Las Vegas. We've had several shows out there, but we're not from Las Vegas originally. We grew up in a small town close to here. You might have heard of it. It's called Canada. Yeah, you guys have heard of Canada. That's nice. And that's where we grew up. Now, we're going to work you guys into this slowly, work you into it easily, get you guys an idea of the kind of high-quality entertainment you're getting here tonight. Now, when it comes to geek magic, when it comes to this kind of art, what you do is you just freak somebody out. You do something a little bit weird that freaks them out, disturbs them, makes them uncomfortable. And that's the idea behind it. So to make somebody uncomfortable, what we need is somebody. So we're going to look through the crowd here. We're looking for somebody who can come up on stage, somebody who's sober, but not too sober, So we don't want that. We want somebody who's squeamish, but not too squeamish. We want somebody who's brave, but doesn't have something to prove. We don't want somebody here with their hands on their hips and doesn't give a shit. Oh shit, can I say shit? We didn't go through that before the show. We totally can. All right, we're all adults here, I'm sure. So we're going to find somebody. Amber's going to find somebody from the crowd. Bring her up on stage. Who do we got?
I like that she doesn't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Really makes me want to pick up.
Come on up. Give our volunteer a round of applause. Stand right here. Perfect. Ryan?
Maddie.
Maddie. All right. Sorry. Maddie. Ladies and gentlemen, Maddie. Maddie, I've got something here for you. Yeah, it is pretty. I picked the color just for you. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get this on you. But to do that, we're going to I'm just going to get it flowing here. Look out, Maddie. Look out. We're going to try to get this thing flowing. Perfect. All right, you know what to do. Not yet, though, Maddie. Not yet. Do you see the armholes, Maddie? Okay, put your arms up. I'm getting dizzy. Hold on. Maddie, get ready. Not now. And not yet. Now, Maddie, now. Yes! You nailed it. Now, what we're going to do is a little bit of a test with you, so we know if you're going to be good. This is on you so that we don't get blood or anything on your nice outfit. We wouldn't want that. It's for your protection, and it's ribbed. Yeah. Are you ticklish, Maddie? That's adorable. It's adorable. I got a bottle of water here. This bottle of water is for you. Now, this is just your test to start out. All you got to do is do what I do. Just follow my instructions exactly, and you'll be good for this. Here we go. That was good. I like that. That's fine. You're doing very well, Maddie.
Thank you.
Perfect. Great so far. did a great job, Maddie. I think she passed the test. Did she pass the test? I think you got it. You got it. Now, you're going to stay right where you are. Now, this is kind of a test as well for you guys. Test as well. Yeah, you're just going to wipe that up. Yeah, that's good. It makes me look horrible. Yeah, that's good. Now, in the sideshow world, there is an act. It's an act called the human pincushion. Are you familiar? No. No. And some of you guys' buttholes just clenched a little bit there. That was good. I like that. I like that. The human pincushion would often take a large needle. This is a knitting needle. And they would take it and they would shove it through a part of their body. That's the traditional human pincushion. So that's what we're going to do today. We're not going to do it to you, no. That would be illegal, I'm sure. Yeah. I haven't looked into the laws. I'm just assuming. Yeah. So we're going to take the skewer and it's going to go right up against here. Are you all right with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to help me with this. Switch sides for me. Switch sides for me here. Switch sides. So putting it here, I'm going to get it across. It's fine. It's fine. Now we're going to try to get this off. All right. Remember, now if you could just grab the side there and pull. Give her a round of applause. Yeah, that was more of a test for you guys, actually.
You failed.
Yeah, I think you failed. This is one you can go home with, Maddie. All you need is a knitting needle and a cloth. It's got some paint on it. That's all you need. And here's what happens. Goes here. It's actually going around my cheek. Now, it looks like it's going through. It really does look like it's going through there. It's not. There's nothing there. It's just going yeah. You can take that home with you. Yeah, you can do that for your... Yeah, do that for children around the block, whatever you got. Yeah, whatever you want to do, it's fine. But I think you passed the test, and we can grab a chair here for her, Maddie. I'm going to have you take a seat here for me, make you a little more comfortable. A little more comfortable. Again, you're still rocking this. Let me pull that back a little bit so they can see your face. Fantastic. I got a couple things here for you, Maddie. The first thing I got is rubber gloves. Okay. You know what to do. Just put them on. It's that easy. Now, what do you do for a living, Maddie?
I'm a student.
You're a student? What are you taking? Other than drugs?
I'm in architectural engineering.
Architectural engineering. Mm-hmm. Sounds made up. Yeah, I don't know. And what's your favorite dinosaur?
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Yeah, sure. Good choice. Yeah, everybody goes for T-Rex, but that's fine. That's fine, Maddie. I've got something else for you here. These are balloons. You know what to do?
Can't blow these out.
No, you don't know what to do. That's fine. You just have to hand me one of them. Perfect. Now, the last thing that I did for you guys was fake. It wasn't real, and that was a test for you guys. What I'm about to do now is real. It's real. We're going to stretch this out here. Grab the end of that for me. Perfect. I'm going to stretch this out. There's a lot of trust there, isn't there, Maddie? You just... Yeah, you want to play a game? You put one end in your mouth, I put one end in my mouth. We back away, Amber says go, and we both try to release at the same time. The loser gets snapped in the face. You down? Yeah. You are? All right, let's do it. Bite it tight, Maddie.
Maddie, let go!
That wasn't fair at all. I think that one's wrecked. We need another balloon. We're going to need a few of them. Okay. All right, Maddie. You can take you just let go. She could have...
It's going to be warm in there.
All right.
It is hot.
Hand me a balloon. Perfect. We're going to take the balloon, and I'm going to blow it up. Oh. Columbus. Right, Columbus. Hold that. Or just let it go, Maddie. I can do that again. That's fine. We'll do it again, Maddie. This time I'll tie it off, all right? That's a good idea. Here we go. There we go. This time we'll tie it off. Now, for this, we're only going to need half of it. Maddie, take that. I'll take the other half. They'll laugh every time. It doesn't matter. We can do this all night, Maddie. Yeah, you were so close. Hey, you blow this one up. Okay. Well, you blow this one up.
can stretch it first.
Yeah, you forgot to stretch it. I believe in you.
She has a question.
What?
Ask her what the question is?
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, I got it. It's fine. They're impossible to blow up. It says on the bag, do not inflate by mouth. Yeah. It could potentially cause brain damage or some shit like that. I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing. I just skimmed it. Here's the plan. We're going to take the balloon, and this end is going to go into my nose. Yeah, this is the show you came to tonight. This is what we're doing. The balloon is going into my nose. It's going to go all the way back. Wait, I forgot to do something. I forgot to make a bubble on the end here. Hold on. Grow up. Now, once we get the bubble on the end there, now I can lube it up. I just lubricate it like you guys do at home. There you go. Shut up. We've all spit on it before. We've all spit on it. Here we go. Straight back into the nose. Yep. That's fun, isn't it? You want me, don't you? This is some sexy stuff right here. The balloon going all the way through my nose. It is right going all the way through. You can see that. Yeah. It's not a magic trick. Here, I'm going to push this all the way down like this. Maddie, here, squeeze that in right there. That's why you're wearing the gloves. And squeeze that in right there. There you go.
Wait, I'm not squeezing it.
We're going to go all the way over across. Oh, Maddie. Here's your job. You're going to grab the end, and you're going to slowly pull it all the way out. Can you close your eyes? Why do you want to close your eyes? Yeah. I gotta trust you for this, Maddie. All right, here we go. Slowly grab it, pull. Pull. Ladies and gentlemen, give Maddie a round of applause. Hold your hands out like this, Maddie. Now, I'm just doing that because I'm going to take these gloves off of you. You notice when I pull the gloves off, they turn themselves inside out. That way we can use them tomorrow for the next volunteer. Third time's the charm, yeah. Now, I'm going to give you a prize, Maddie, but to get the prize, you have to win the prize. To win the prize is simple. I'm going to take the rubber gloves, I'm going to make them into a ball just like this. Once they're a ball, you're going to make a simple guess here. A simple guess. All you got to do is guess which hand are the gloves in, right or left?
Right.
Right? One more guess. Right, that's fine. We'll give you a prize anyhow. AmberLynn, make her a balloon animal. There you go. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What? It's not going to be a T-Rex. That would have been good, though. If you'd have made a T-Rex, I'd have been impressed. It's a dog or a mouse or a cat or some kind of thing.
Animal!
Give it to Maddie. Ladies and gentlemen, give Maddie a round of applause. You can go back to your seats. You can wear that home. Yeah, that's a gift. It looks so good on you, I thought you should keep it. Yeah, I like that. So now you guys kind of get an idea of the kind of entertainment we do. Now, for some people, it might be a little bit much. That might be a little bit too extreme. So we're going to kind of slow things down a little bit. And we're going to do a card trick for you guys. This is a card trick. I mean, it's not some kind of like really elaborate card trick like you saw earlier, but it's a nice card trick. And to do it, we're going to need another volunteer from the crowd. We're going to find somebody. Amber's going to find somebody from the crowd who will come up on stage and help us out. Again, somebody sober, but not too sober. Somebody be fun, but doesn't have anything to prove. somebody who will come up on stage and participate. We go all the way to the back.
They think they're safe.
Yeah, you're not safe in the back. Who are you picking? Perfect! Perfect, that's who I was thinking too. Come on up. Stand right here behind the stool. And your name?
Andrea.
Andrea, ladies and gentlemen, Andrea. Andrea, what do you do for a living?
Legal research.
Illegal research, sounds exciting. Who's your favorite Backstreet Boy?
Oh, I don't know.
Me neither, I have no idea.
Sorry.
I don't know their names either, it's fine. Here's the deal.
Okay.
I'm going to take this deck of cards. Now, it's a simple trick. We're going to give them a quick shuffle. Just a quick shuffle, and I'm going to have you cut the cards. Now, I don't just have a deck of cards here. I also brought along a mouse trap. Okay. You didn't think it was going to be a normal magic trick, did you? Yeah, they're not fun to get snapped by. No, that's where it gets exciting.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have you cut the deck. Just cut it like that.
As much as I want?
Yeah, as much as you want. Doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to mark the spot right there, and here's the deal. I'm going to set the trap. Now, I want you to take that card, take a look at it. Don't show it to me.
But I look at it.
You look at it. You show it around the room. I won't look. Now here's the deal. I'm going to shuffle that card back into the deck. And if I can't find your card, I'm going to snap my finger in the mouse trap there.
Okay.
Fair?
Fair.
Fair. Take your card, stick it in the deck. Anywhere you want. Perfect. We put the card in the deck. I'm going to shuffle it up just like that. I'm going to see if I can find your card. You still remember your card?
Yep.
Perfect. Now tell me. That wasn't it. I could tell. Ace of Diamonds, was that your card? Shit. Second chance. Maddie, we'll do a second chance. Double or nothing. If I get it wrong the second time, I'll snap the mouse trap on my tongue. Fair enough? Fair enough? If I don't get it right, you still remember your card?
I don't know.
You still remember it?
Yeah, I do.
All right. See if we can get it. It's in the deck somewhere.
Don't screw it up.
All right. If I get it wrong this time, snap the mouse trap on my tongue.
Shit.
Two of diamonds, was it right?
No, you're fucked. Sorry.
That's fine. Stay right there. Stay right there. No. You won. You won. I know what you guys are thinking at this point. You guys are thinking, wow, does he do kids' parties? He does. He does do kids' parties. Didn't win America's Got Talent. Got to make money somewhere. Mouse trap on the tongue.
Don't do it.
Thank you. Yeah. At least one person gives a shit. That's important. Nobody tries to stop me. You guys all just stand there. I'll do it. A deal's a deal. Here it is. Mouse trap on the tongue. Was your card the King of Hearts?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. You can go back to your seat. I know, at that point you're thinking, well, if he knew the damn card, why did he snap the mousetrap on his tongue? The answer is simple. Schadenfreude. Does anybody know the term Schadenfreude? It's a German word, and it basically translates to taking pleasure in another person's discomfort or misfortune. It's a common thing. It's why you watch old shows like America's Funniest Home Videos, or you look at videos online, and when people fall down, or they get hit in the head, or they get kicked in the balls, it's why it's amusing. Schadenfreude. And that's the premise behind a lot of geek magic. A lot of weird, strange things. It's painful. It's just amusing to watch somebody else get hurt by it. Now, I'm going to show you a good example of that. And to do it is going to be very simple. I went to the grocery store earlier today, and I bought something. I bought something that's in that bag. Now, I'm going to find somebody here. Let's see. This is a mentalism trick. You laugh. You're like, bullshit, it's a mentalism trick. Yeah, you're right. What's your name? Nick? Oh, yeah, I remember. I was back there the whole time that he was picking on you. I was right there. Nick, I want you, in your mind, to think of any vegetable. Are you thinking of a vegetable? That took a minute. All right, that's fine. You're thinking of a vegetable.
Chocolate's not a vegetable.
Would you be amazed if the vegetable you're thinking of is in that bag? Yeah. Me too. That would be amazing. That would be amazing, Nick. What vegetable are you thinking of? Broccoli? Check it out. It's a can of mixed vegetables. I think, I think there's definitely, thank you very much. Yeah, there's, there may or may not be broccoli in there. I'm really not sure. But Nick, you're going to come up here and help me out. Come on up. Give Nick a round of applause. All right, can of mixed vegetables. Take a look at them. Make sure it's just a can of vegetables. It's a real can. It's solid. It's full. You check the expiry date on it. Yeah. When does it expire?
21.
2021?
September 3rd, 2021.
I'm sure it'll be fine after that. Like, you can bring it home afterwards, keep it for a while, eat it. You'll be fine. Yeah. Here's the deal. I'm going to take this can. I'm going to have you hold my wrist. So come on to this side of me. And you're going to hold my wrist still so that I can't move. I'm going to take the can, and I'm going to slam it down onto my finger as hard as I can. This is an old party trick. It's an old party trick. We're going to see if this works today. If I do it right, it shouldn't hurt at all. It should dent the can. It should crush the can, but it should leave me fine. You believe it, Nick? Yeah. Fucking hope so. Yeah. We're going to give this a shot. Here we go. Hold it right there.
Don't do it.
Thank you. 1. You're holding my hand very hard. You're really serious about this, Nick. That's fine. Here, you can hold a little bit tight around the wrist, but you don't have to bend my finger down over the table. Perfect. Here we go. 1, 2. And without any pain at all, the can is crushed in. That's a party trick you can take home with you, Nick. In fact, bring the can with you. Give him a round of applause. Yep. And why do we do that? Schadenfreude. Yes, that's exactly the answer I was looking for there. And that's the entire premise behind it, is Schadenfreude. Now, when it comes to Sideshow, a lot of the time this isn't about just hurting yourself, and it's not about just grossing people out. Sometimes Sideshow and geek magic is about danger. It revolves around danger. Now, we're going to show you guys something dangerous. Do you want to see something dangerous?
Yes.
Good. I was going to do it anyway. I just thought I'd ask. Yeah. But to do it, we're going to need a volunteer from the crowd. I'm going to go get the dangerous prop. AmberLynn is going to find a volunteer.
So for this volunteer, we actually need somebody who has no regard for his safety. I mean, besides me. So we need somebody with a steady hand. We need somebody who looks like they may not want to be part of the show. But most importantly, I have to like the face. This is hard. I like all your faces. But you're going to help us out.
What's your name?
Bree.
Bree. Ladies and gentlemen, Bree, come stand right here. Now, in magic, there is one trick that is deemed the most dangerous out of any trick. Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't know. It's the bullet catch. Oh. A person takes a bullet, a magician takes a bullet, has the bullet signed, loads the gun, fires the gun across the stage. The gun is fired, and the magician catches the bullet in its mouth. Now, usually this bullet would travel through a pane of glass, something like that. The glass shatters. We know the bullet traveled through. He spits it out, and it's the signed bullet. Pretty cool. We don't have a gun. We didn't bring a gun. But when I was a kid, and I'm sure a lot of kids played with this, is something called a pea shooter, which is basically a straw. Now, everybody spitballs with a straw. Kids back in the 1950s or something like that, I don't know how long ago, they would spit dried peas, and they actually hurt. They sting. I don't have dried peas, but I have a whole bunch of popcorn kernels right here. Now, we're going to take this. Oh, you're going to try to prove that. Here, just fire one that way. Fire one that way. Prove that that's a good... Try not to hit anybody with this.
How about your eyes?
I think you can go a little harder. Here, hold your hand out like this. Hold your hand out like this. Let's see if Amber can hit that. Watch your eyes. You can't inhale it when you do it. Try it again. That's corny, yeah. Write that down. Here we go.
It's going to be amazing.
That one's a thinker. That one's a thinker. Oh, that was so close. Give me another one. Oh, get a little closer than that. Oh! Flat. There you go. You've got it. Where's the couple of things there? Perfect. Now what I'm going to get you to do is take this, reach in, and pull out any kernel you want. Perfect. Take a look at it. Memorize that kernel of corn. Yeah. If you were to see that kernel of corn, would you recognize it?
No.
No? Sure, you drop it in right there. I'm going to shuffle them. Was that your corn? We have no idea. We have no idea. That's the point. Here, I need you to take a different piece out of there.
Okay.
And I'm going to hand you a Sharpie.
Okay.
And I would like you to sign your name in full across the first, middle, and last. No, just write whatever you can, like an initial or anything like that in there.
Okay. I made a small bee.
A small bee. Yeah, it looks fantastic. You can give me the pen back. Amber will take that. And you guys can see here that she's made a small bee. Looks more like a mouse crapped on it, but it's a small bee. Amber's going to take that, and I'm going to take a balloon. You can show it around as well. Now here's the deal. Stay right back up a little bit, right back to the thing there.
Okay.
I'm going to inflate the balloon. Amber is going to load it up over there. Load your pea. She's going to fire it. When she fires it, it's going to go through the balloon. It's going to land in my mouth. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
We haven't done this in a while.
What about cooties?
What about cooties? I'm more concerned about your aim. I watched you try to hit that bottle.
Look, I've only hit you once in the neck with a crossbow. When are you going to get over that?
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
In the mouth.
Ready?
Yeah.
In the mouth. 1. You might want to just move a little bit that way just so you don't get a ricochet if she misses. Yeah. 1. Perfect. Here we go.
Can you see still? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. What are we? We're counting to 3.
Oh.
It's always 3. We're counting to 3. If you know the words, please join in. All right. It's 1, 2, 3, fire. You're gonna fire on fire. 1, 2, 3, fire. Okay. It's not in my mouth. It's not in my mouth. I should have worn goggles for this. Do you see something in my eye here? Hold on. Come over here a little bit. Come over here. Right over there.
Okay.
There's something right here.
Oh, it is.
Tell me if you see something.
I see something.
You see something coming on my eye?
Yeah.
Oh! Tell me. Take a look at it. Take a look at it. Is that your kernel of corn? Does it have a little bee on it? It does. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the kernel of corn. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have been a lot of fun. My name is Ryan Stock. This is AmberLynn. Good night.
Hey, Nick Ricapo here. Welcome back to the studio. You guys just watched an awesome performance from Ryan Stock and AmberLynn, and here they are to explain it all. Ryan Stock, AmberLynn, what's going on, guys?
Not much. How you doing?
Thank you so much for coming. We've been so excited to have you.
Same here.
Well, not only are we big fans, but we don't get to see a lot of the style of magic that you guys perform, and we're talking about geek magic. This is something that we don't get a chance to talk about very often here on Penguin Live.
There's not a lot of people doing it.
No, so we were super stoked that you guys were showing up and had an awesome set to share with us.
Oh, I'm glad you guys liked it.
Well, it was fantastic. But tell us, how did you get started performing this style of magic?
I started out as a magician, like every magician starts, I think. You get a magic kit
for Christmas, and I started just getting really interested in magic, and by 12 years old, I was doing dove magic. I was doing birthday parties and balloon animals and all kinds of just the usual magic show. And I had a family friend who was a fire eater.
With the Barnum and Bailey
He was
Circus.
a fire eater for the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Wow. And my parents just thought I'd be interested in it. And for Christmas, they bought me a book, which is still available, called How to Eat Fire. It's a black little black book with red writing on the front. You can still find it in magic shops. They bought it for me at 14 years old, introduced me to this family friend who taught me how to eat fire. And it kind of, it took over my show. I started fire eating at the beginning of my magic show, and then as I studied circus, I learned how to do the old stunts like human blockhead, where you'd hammer a nail in your nose, and I learned how to swallow swords, and I started putting some geek magic and sideshow acts into my magic show, and then after a while I had a little bit of magic in my freak show, and then it kind of just became all just weird stuff after a while. It just kind of progressed since from 14 to 18. By the time I was 18, I was working in nightclubs and bars and comedy clubs, just doing weird stuff like this.
Hard to believe you get paid to do that type of stuff, right?
Absolutely. I started in magic as well, and balloon animals, that kind of stuff. And then I met Ryan. He got really weird from there, like really weird. But honestly, your weird streak came before that. Your mom had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and my parents have always encouraged this kind of
14
thing.
fire eating, that sounds...
Yeah, not only that, they let me eat fire in the living room. You know, like they'd be in bed at night and they just
never in
practice.
the day.
Unsupervised, too.
Right?
Yeah, but my mom, when we were young, she taught us a trick, me and my sister, a trick where you could swallow a penny and bring it back up again. We used to play a game where we'd swallow links.
Was it a trick, or was it...
No,
it's real.
Okay, this is even weirder. His dad's a Baptist minister, and his mom is a care nurse and a foster mom.
Me and my mom used to play a game where you swallow a length of thread with a glass of water and then pull it back out, just because it felt weird. So, I mean, I guess this all started fairly young, but...
Your party trick when you were young, too. His parents would throw a piece of bread on an anthill, kick the anthill, they would swarm the piece of bread, and then they'd make him eat it.
You still eating that stuff, or?
I try not to do bug eating anymore. It's not my thing.
Good.
Once in a while, if I have to for a gig, I'll do it.
Oh, all right. Fair
Or
enough.
for the nephews.
Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. It's just interesting that like you get into magic, and then maybe it sounds like your parents had a big role to play in all of this. But
yeah, maybe not intentionally, but
yeah.
But they know that it's their fault.
But it was interesting that you started with the doves, and then it kind of started from there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of us have tried to maybe do some of the danger stunts. Like I've done like the balloon swallow here and there, but it doesn't really quite work for me. But it's interesting that it kind of maybe chooses the person along the way.
It definitely doesn't work for everybody. And I know like growing up and being part of like the IBM rings in the town I grew up in, a lot of the old magicians would have these rules like you never do magic that involves your mouth.
Sure.
Don't do anything that involves your nose. Don't do it. And they have all these rules that are laid out, but I just kind of never really followed those rules. I saw the reactions that it was getting, and it was getting great responses from the crowd, and it was working for me.
Also, whose rules are these?
Yeah, right. We're learning from the right people here today. So what I'm also interesting because it's you work together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And how does this enhance the performance that you do? Do you think?
Well, initially, Ryan hired me as his assistant, and he needed somebody to wrap his face in saran wrap. And the audience members wouldn't wrap it tight enough so he couldn't breathe. So he hired me because I had no regard for his safety. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. I trust you. So it started with just convenience.
So have you like maybe unlocked some partner secrets on the stage with regards to? Are there any other
therapy?
Sure, but historically, these types of acts, I don't know. Are they duo acts a lot of times? Are they
It depends what you're looking at. Like the original Bullet Catch, the legit Bullet Catch, was done as a partner.
Sure. Well, I mean, sometimes it was an audience member, sometimes it wasn't. But I think for the stuff that we're doing, certainly helps to have a duo on stage. It smooths out the act in the sense of not having to turn around to a table, get your props. I mean, there's parts of the show where I'm literally throwing props over my shoulder behind me. Amber's catching it. And not only that, but I mean, having a beautiful assistant who it's something to look at on stage, but she also is part of the show. Not just, she does her own stunts as well on the show, and she's doing her own amazing things and tricks that she's created on her own. but also she's reacting to it. So when I'm doing a stunt on stage, if I'm swallowing a sword or if I'm doing something disgusting, she's reacting disgusted, amazed, scared. Even though she's seen it 1,000 times, it's something that the audience can base their reaction on.
It also gives them something else to look at. If they can't handle watching what you're doing, they can watch and be amused by my reactions.
Yeah, that's what I noticed it on stage. Like I really like the fact that you have your own expression as to what is happening here.
It's a built-in
just something else to
dichotomy.
look at. Yeah, but you don't need a partner to do any of this stuff.
No, I mean, you can. I mean, the bullet catch thing at the end. I mean, you're going to need somebody for that. But there, I mean, we can talk about variations on it.
Sure. Well, that's why I wanted to talk about the act specifically, because this is all stuff that somebody could do. Right, you could just you bought all this stuff where?
Walmart, yeah.
Under $30
in the freak show section.
Easily under $30. I mean, this is one trip to Walmart. And that was what we wanted to do when we came here. These are.
We were inspired by Max Maven's Nothing. The having nothing, going to the store, grabbing your show. So we wanted to do that, but geek magic style.
Fantastic idea. No, this is brilliant. So you showed up. Just a funny side note: we all thought you were going to show up with a big trailer filled with who knows what, chainsaws, crossbows, all sorts of stuff, and you showed up with a little bag, and that's it. And you rocked the place with
Something about the props that we use as well is it's all stuff that people recognize and know, so they associate it with. So we're doing something really freaky with these objects. When they see them again next time, they associate with us now. So we're at the top of their mind when it comes to these pieces.
Yeah,
also, I mean, we do stuff with crossbows and
swords
and things, but to teach it here, I mean...
we didn't know. We didn't know. That's
the kind of thing you want to learn face to face with a professional.
Sure. Yes, for sure.
Professional being the key word.
So regarding the act, is there a lot of setup that you had to do? I think you only had a couple things.
There's minimal setup for the act, and then there's a couple of little tweaks that a little more difficult, but are not necessarily
needed.
Yeah. But it's very quick setup. Maybe a 3-minute setup. I mean, it's super quick.
All right, then we'll let you cover that when you get up there and when we start learning some of this stuff. Last thing I just wanted to ask you about before we get going on the explanation is just, I really enjoyed how you took the time at the top of the show to give the audience like a little disclaimer about what was going to happen. And I feel like that's fairly common among the acts that I've seen. What's your approach? What are your thoughts on that type of thing before the top of the show?
I do like to give them a disclaimer. I like to give them a chance to understand what's going to be happening. But I mean, it's also fun to kind of make it into a joke, kind of make it into make fun of yourself. I mean, it's a little bit self-deprecating at some moments, lion's leg, see the kind of quality entertainment you're getting here. And I mean, and it is a joke. I mean, we're doing disgusting things, we're doing gross things, but I think, I mean,
it humanizes you too. So with what we're doing, you run the risk of them looking at you like you're a freak or a weirdo, and we want to normalize ourselves. So we're just like
as much
a friend.
As you can.
Sure. Yeah, coming out and performing something to music. I mean, I guess maybe you've done some fire eating or
we
something.
We do, in our full show, we do stuff with music vignettes sprinkled throughout, But I mean, that's after the audience gets to know us a bit and they understand.
Yeah, but for something like this, if somebody wanted to perform in this style, you probably want to get out there and display some character and let the audience know what you're going to do.
And you can actually take any of these routines and put it to music if you're not a talking act. It's diverse.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I'm excited to learn some of this stuff. Some of it I don't know. Well, yeah, I can't wait to learn some of these methods because it was pretty fun last night. So.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it.
Get on over there. Show us how this stuff works.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll go through the prep first?
Well, we'll go through the prep first for the water bottles here because at the beginning of the show we did this do as I do moment with the volunteer. And obviously the rain poncho that we put over the volunteer. That's just something over the years, we often put a rain poncho over a volunteer if we were doing anything with water or anything.
Fake blood
or anything where something's going through my nose. We'll often put a rain poncho over them. It looks silly, it gets a laugh from the crowd, but it also does keep you from getting your spectator wet and messy. And,
it actually works itself.
Yeah, what we found over the years of trying to put a rain poncho on somebody is it's awkward. It's an awkward moment, which is why we created this moment of having it fling open, and it's very simple to do. It's a funny gag. You just want to find where the hood is on it, and spread it open,
Now the air actually will catch the...
Yeah, it starts coming open, and then you can actually have your assistant, of course, jump into it, which we did on the show, which is, again, just a silly moment that we like to do right off the bat.
Plays huge too, right? It like fills the stage. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big moment, and it's a silly moment, but it just became part of our show because we're always trying to protect their clothes, and we're always trying to keep them there, and we just found a fun way of doing it over time. And the first part of prep here for this water bottle thing. Now, the water bottle thing, I mean, we've all seen, or a lot of us have seen the do as I do moments where you got an audience member, you got maybe 2 cups of water, you're following along, you take your sip, and then you spit it back into the cup. They can't do that moment, and that's the funny moment in it.
Amazing Jonathan.
Amazing Jonathan does a great moment with that, where he acts like he's drugged the volunteer, and after they drink it, he acts like they've been drugged with acid or whatever it is. We've seen Harry Anderson do a version of this, and recently there was a guy on...
Chris Rose.
Chris Rose on Fool Us. He did a moment with a cookie and milk, and that's kind of what this idea is based on. I originally saw it as a camp skit when I was a kid at a Bible camp. It was somebody did it as a skit, and I've changed it to water bottles and making it look like the water is going into my eye when it's actually coming out my mouth. Now, really what I'm doing for that is very simple. I'm keeping the water in my mouth, but to get the stream, that thin stream that's coming out my mouth, I'm using a Q-tip. It's a plastic Q-tip, and you can still buy these. They're harder to find. Most of the time now they're cardboard sticks on them.
You definitely need the plastic one.
You need the plastic ones. They're plastic, they're hollow, and they come in multicolors. So read the packaging, and if it says plastic stick, you're just cutting the center out of that. And that's it, just a little tiny piece of tubing, and that's going in my mouth, in my cheek, before I've even started the show. So that's in there the whole time. When I bring my audience member up, all she's got to do is follow what I'm doing. At that moment, I mean, you can do anything you want. You can cheers out to the crowd. You come across, which I like to do it this way because then it's her putting her hand in my face. Usually gets a bit of a chuckle from a crowd. We open it up, and I fill my mouth with water on the last sip that I take. Now the audience member assumes that I've swallowed it. I haven't. I've kept it in my mouth. And once it's in my mouth, I move the straw piece right here to the front of my mouth. Now that allows me to get a nice stream of water. So.
Now the fun thing about this, depending on how big of a mouthful of water you take, you can actually get up to a 30-second stream, which is kind of like a fake spouting kind of feel.
Yeah, I've had people actually think that I was spouting water. I filled up my mouth with water on stage as full as I could get it and get a long, 20 to 30 second stream of water like that. And surprisingly enough, people think it's actually coming out of my stomach. I mean, everybody's seen David Blaine now, obviously vomiting on stage, and they think that that's what's going on. So as far as the water going into my eye, all I'm doing is I'm pressing it tight so that it makes a seal and doesn't drip down my face.
Squeeze your eye like you're holding a monocle.
And then the water's coming out my mouth. So we'll do the full thing here.
You have to clean this up this time.
So that's the gag behind it. And now I don't know if it necessarily fools anybody. I mean, some people, sure, but it is a fun moment in the show, and it's a moment that gets a laugh. And the clean stream is really the reason I like to do it. I mean, having that nice thin stream of water, it looks kind of cool as it comes out your mouth, and it's a nice moment in the show. So that's very simple to do. And again, the real work behind it is a Q-tip. That's it, plastic Q-tip.
Is that still in your mouth?
It's still in my mouth, yeah. Actually, during the performance that we did, this was in my mouth before I came out on stage, and it was in my mouth until I left stage to set up for the last stunt. So it's in my mouth the entire time, just right here in my cheek.
Doesn't inhibit your talking at all?
You can keep it in there.
You can't see it.
It's pretty comfortable. It's fine. There you go.
Let's do the next one.
So that one's very simple. Now the next one is based on an old gag as well. Now I can't remember where I first saw it. I saw it with a drinking straw in a bar, and normally it looks like you're putting a straw through your cheek. This feels like something like Amazing Jonathan would do. I don't know if I've ever seen him do it, but it was done with a drinking straw when I first saw it, and I learned it from, I think it's the guy in a bar who was doing it, and it was done pretty badly. It was always done as a gag and just kind of like that and pulled out. Now, what I've done is
Quite similar to the ear thing Jonathan does.
Yeah, have you ever seen that? Yeah, show the camera that, where an old gag where it looks like you're putting your finger right through your ear. I mean, or you can just put your finger right through your ear, I guess.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, but this, the work that I've done on it, which is a little bit different, is I also have a cloth that's got a bit of fake blood or paint splattered in the middle of it, and that's being hidden inside the cloth. And when the skewer looks like it's going through, I'm pushing it just gently into the side of my cheek and then putting my thumb into my mouth right here, letting the skewer pass through my cheek. I'm pushing in and pulling my upper lip out.
Do it with your hand open and your thumb in, Ryan.
So you can get a good shot of that.
Tilt your head up.
So it's going behind my thumb. And it's pulling my lip out. And I find the more you can pull your lip out and down, the more believable it looks. Now, it's a funny thing because I've toured with shows where I actually do put skewers through my face and other people in the show put skewers through their face. And weirdly enough, this gets the same reaction. Like, you get the exact same response as putting a skewer through your face as you do from that. And what I like to do with it is then I start to clean it up with this cloth. And as I'm cleaning it up, I'm kind of revealing more and more of the red. And that's just letting the cloth kind of unfold itself and start to reveal that there's blood all over the cloth. I do this as a reveal. I teach it to the audience. I don't want them to think that it's real. And that's for several reasons. I think even though I do weird, freaky stuff on stage, I really don't like real blood on stage. And I don't want people walking away thinking that I'm bleeding on stage. But also because people do this for real. And as a sword swallower myself, I see people who use fake swords and pass it off as real. I don't really like that, so I don't think passing off this as real is a great thing to do when there are people who've taken the time to do it for real. And it's a painful and difficult stunt to learn. But that's the basic behind it. So again, you want to start with it pressed against your cheek, come in with your thumb right above it, slide it right to here. Just like that. So very simple to do.
It also teaches the audience to second guess everything they're watching. So they don't know if it's real or not. It blurs the line. So it keeps them very focused on the show.
Mm-hmm. And that's a thing that we like to do. We like to blur those lines. I mean, some people don't think you should combine like the sideshow, the freak show stuff with magic. We've always liked to combine. We've always liked to blur those lines. And I think it's a good way for an audience to be able to watch it all. It keeps it all palatable. It keeps it, you don't know if it's real, so you don't know if you should be grossed out by it. And
it's true. And also, once again, whose rules are these?
Right. Now, I say in the show, this is a test for the audience. So the first thing I did was a test for our volunteer. The second thing was a test for the audience. Now that's true, because we want to see how the audience is reacting to that. If they're grossed out and if they're responding to it, then we know we've got a good crowd. They're going to like this kind of thing. If they don't care, if they're just sitting there staring at you blankly, well,
you either amp it up or pull it back.
Yeah, you got to figure out what you're going to do with that crowd.
It's really great to gauge the audience and how they're going to react to the rest of what you're doing, because so far it's fake, then we're going into something real. So we need to know how far we can push it.
Well, before you get to the real thing, what kind of what is this?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
And you don't have to use this. Once again, Walmart, it's a knitting needle.
Oh, yeah, you got it at Walmart. I forgot about
Yeah,
this. It's a knitting needle.
everything
Oh,
is
my
at
God.
Walmart.
That's a craft section knitting needle. You could go into the barbecue section and get a skewer or anything like that,
Yeah.
but you'll find those are a bit sharper, and you might want to...
And thinner, too, so they don't show up as well.
And if you get something like a barbecue skewer or anything like that, you're going to want to file the end down, make it a little bit more dull. But we find a knitting needle of this size, which is just...
It looks terrifying.
Yeah, and it's just under a 1/4 inch thick, and they're very cheap. And
also, like you said, you can do it with straws. The main thing I would suggest is don't use any of the wood skewers because slivers could happen.
Yeah, you don't want to get a splinter in the side of your cheek.
You want that real blood.
Yeah, then you're going to be actually bleeding. And
Yeah,
then
right.
you don't
Well, then
want that.
speaking of bleeding as well, what's the best way to make fake blood on a cloth?
What?
So this is all this is store-bought fake blood. Like, so every time, anytime the stores start getting the Halloween stuff around September, October, and then when they start doing it 50% off, at the end of the Halloween season, we buy up just a bunch of fake blood. We've got
bulk,
several
yeah.
things in our show that use fake blood.
Also, if you don't have access to fake blood, different paints, there's a window paint that has that clear kind of look to blood that you can use as well.
Right. So yeah, paint will do. And what we're doing with this is we lay the whole thing out. We only are doing the corner here so that when it's folded up, you wait for it to dry before you fold it up so
Yes.
it doesn't transfer over to the other side of the cloth because you want to have a clean white cloth on there when you're starting the trick. And again, once you're wiping it up, you're really just kind of pushing the blood to the outside.
Super good.
It's just a fun little moment in there. Just kind of get a response from them, make them think that it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. You're building tension, and then when you're putting the joke in, you're releasing that tension. And that's very important and very important for the type of entertainment that we do. It's all about tension and release. So that's the two fake things that we started. Now let's move into the real.
Yeah. So the part with the balloon here is actually happening. But we'll go through a bit of the gags and stuff that we did first. So these are just balloon animal balloons or 260Q balloons. Pencil balloons are called some places.
Once again, Walmart, $1.50, cheap, good, and you'll get many, many shows out of these.
Right, so the first thing, obviously, we were playing with the crowd, which is just a lot of gags. I like the moments of having the spectator grab onto the end of it and walking away with it. Now, when you're doing stuff like that, I mean, I'm never going to let go. I'm never going to snap the audience.
Make sure you
shouldn't either.
don't.
So you want to have a tight grip on that. And when I do walk away, I am sometimes expecting them to let go of it. And that's it doesn't hurt that bad if she lets go. It's a bit of a snap on the hand. It doesn't really hurt that bad. So sometimes the audience member will let go, sometimes they do or they don't, and it doesn't matter if they let go or not. It's still funny. People are waiting for that moment and that tension. There's a nice moment of tension there. I believe when we performed it here, I did do a gag, which I just was playing with, where I told her to hold one end in her mouth, and I walked back, and we said it was going to be a race. Now, that's not something we often do in the show. We've done it with actual other performers in the show before, but we decided to do that just last minute on the spot, and only because our volunteer, when I mentioned it as a joke, she said, yeah, I'll do that. So, and again, when we did that moment, I was never ever going to race this person. I was never going to snap her in the face or attempt to snap her in the face. I think that's important to note.
Don't hurt your audience. Hence why I told her to go with her name.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Cue her immediately.
Right. Now, blowing these things up. So
It literally says on the bag, do not inflate by mouth.
you may want to get a pump. I mean, or you may want to buy a video on it if there is one. I can give a little bit of work on this, but really the secret to blowing these up is you want to stretch it really good. You want to pinch it about halfway down like that. And when you blow, you want to stretch while you blow.
Also, you want to make your cheeks tight, because if you inflate your cheeks, you could possibly inflate the glands here with air. Not good.
Not many people blow these up by mouth, so you may just want to get a pump for it.
And it's not necessary. And even when you ask the audience volunteer, most of the time they won't be able to do it. We did have one instance where we made the joke, gave it to a 7-year-old girl, and she blew the balloon up.
Yeah, so
It was amazing.
Most people can't. Most grown men are not going to be able to blow this balloon up when you hand it to them. And that's part of the gag that we do with it. So if you learn how to blow these up, you can use that gag, have your audience member try to blow them up, but most of the time, they're not going to be able to do it. We also did a little bit more byplay there with the balloon where I blew it up and I handed it to her. Now, at that point, we're just letting it go. This is an old clown gag. I think I originally saw it in a book called Creative Clowning, and it's a book from I think the mid-70s. And it's something that's I used to do for children's birthday parties all the time, and it'll make kids and adults laugh. You can do it over and over again.
Hence why you did the break in half.
Right,
Same
and I'll
book.
show that moment as well. The second time I do it,
Obviously, you can see he's not actually dizzy after blowing these up. He puts that on for comedy purposes.
so the second time I do it, I'm twisting this balloon right here, and all I'm doing is you pull back and forth a bunch of times, and it'll break into two pieces. Obviously, neither one of these are tied. Gives you two more chances to say, hold that. Here, take that one. So, and these are just fun moments, gets a laugh from the crowd, it breaks the tension from the gross things that we're doing on stage.
You also want to be handing it to them as you're explaining it so they don't have time to react to actually grab the balloon.
Sure. Now, should we get into the gross stuff? Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is the gross stuff. So, I guess we'll use a pink balloon for this. Now, this is a trick often called mental floss. Now, there's a whole bunch of variations on this. It would be based around the human blockhead. Now, the human blockhead, which started out as like
Old fakir.
well, old fakirs and pin cushions when they were putting pins through their arms and stuff, they would put pins into their nose. It got taken by got taken by a guy named Melvin Burkhart, who started doing it with nails in his nose, and he popularized that act, which a lot of people do that exact act. And people started doing objects all the way through, which became known as mental floss. Now,
Most common that you might see as a performer or non-performer is the spaghetti noodle.
you see a spaghetti noodle or maybe a bathtub ball chain in the nose, out the mouth. Matt the Tube Crowley did condoms. He made that a very common thing. And the balloon animal balloon was popularized by Todd Robbins.
We love Todd Robbins. Thank you again for letting us put this in the instructional.
So Todd Robbins came up with the idea of doing it with a balloon animal balloon. Now, a lot of people have different work on this. The way that I do it is I blow it up about that much. Now, you could go less, but we like to finish this off by making a balloon animal out of it and giving it to our volunteer, just as a bit of a gross gag at the end.
You tie it off.
So we tie it off.
The great thing that this does when you're inflating it, it kind of gives a little bit of a stiff vibe to the end of the balloon. If you don't blow up or put even a bubble in it, it's really difficult to get it all the way through.
Now, what I'm doing with this is I'm also making a bubble on the end of it. Now, in the act, when I performed it, I start putting it in my nose first, then I pull it out, and then I make the bubble. Again, that's just to get a laugh from the crowd that it's been in my nose, now it's in my mouth. It's just a bit of a silly moment there. But this act is, well, the first time you try doing this, it is exactly as uncomfortable as you think it would be. Yeah, it is terribly uncomfortable, and it's something that you have to get used to over time. You have a sneeze reflex that wants to react. And
Gag reflex.
Yeah, your eyes are going to start watering. You start sneezing immediately, and that's before you even get it to the back of your throat. Once you do get past the moment where you're not sneezing, you're not, your eyes aren't watering anymore, now you're reaching your gag reflex, and it becomes another issue that you have to get over.
I'm going to explain the passage, because they might not understand the passage in the skull. So if you actually take your tongue and put it on the roof of your mouth and slide it back, that's your hard palate and your soft palate. Right above that is the passage that it's going. It's the same passage if you're hawking a loogie.
Yeah, gross, but so's the trick. Now, most people would think that you're going to take the balloon and you're going to go straight up the nose. There's nowhere for it to really go straight up the nose. People don't know that your sinuses go straight back into your head. So this is actually going straight back into my head. I'm going to run it a little bit there.
Lube it up. Definitely lube it up.
So I'm lubing it up, just spitting on it a little bit, and then it's getting pushed right back into my sinuses here.
So
now,
the passage is straight back, maybe even on a downward angle, just slightly.
So as we get that farther and farther back, it's now right back here, like kind of at the back of my throat.
Close to your uvula.
Your uvula, yes. Your hanging courage ball. Yeah. So as it sits there, now I've been doing this for, I don't know, over 20 years. So you can get to the point that it's comfortable. Like, this isn't uncomfortable for me at all. You can see that my eyes aren't watering, that I'm not sneezing, that I'm not gagging or anything. And this will take time. Now, this is, I don't want to say it's dangerous to learn, but you are putting a foreign object into your head. So, I mean, caution should be used. This isn't for everybody.
No, blow your nose before you do this.
That's a good idea. So this isn't for everybody to do. It can be uncomfortable. It can take a lot of practice to get. Now, I didn't put the bubble on it.
You have to.
You have to put a bubble on. If you want to get the air from this side out the other side, you want to get it stretched a bit here on the end. The best way to do that is to suck on the end of it. To suck on the end of it. And then you're going to push a bit of air into it.
Now that just pre-stretches out the end so that when you push the other section, it can just pop there instead of going through the section in your head.
Right. So we'll run it all the way through for you guys. I will add the note here that once this gets to the back of your throat, it's going to go into your nose, it's going to go to the back of your throat. You'll feel it there. You're not going to miss that feeling. If you kind of suck with your mouth and squeeze the balloon at the same time, it'll kind of inflate right here.
The bubble into your mouth.
And you'll feel it inflate inside your mouth. That's the easiest way to get it coming out your mouth. You can also reach back with 2 fingers and pull it forward, but this is going to depend on you. Again, this isn't for everybody. Some people are going to watch this video and say, I'm not even going to try that. Some people are going to try it and get this about an inch into their nose before they go, I'm never learning this. And who knows? There's going to be people out there that they really want to learn this. And if this is for you, it might take you 5-6 days of practice before you stop sneezing, your eyes stop watering, but eventually it will happen. And I compare it to sword swallowing or anything like that. Your sneeze reflex and your eye watering reflex is there. It's a warning. Your body is telling you there's a foreign object.
Something's wrong.
Something is wrong. Get it out. And it's trying to eject that by sneezing, by watering, by pouring with mucus. I mean, and it takes a long time, or not a long time, it takes a few days to shut that down. Your body eventually stops reacting.
It gives up. It's like, fine.
If you want to put things in your nose, put things in your nose.
Now, something I wanted to state is when you feel it at the back of your throat, you don't want to push too much far more without doing the bubble because it will follow the passage down your esophagus.
Right. There we go. Now we suck. And you push at the same time. And we end up right here. We've got a little bit inflated on one side, a little bit inflated on the other. Now, at this point, I am getting the audience member to, let me move that, to squeeze and to push. And sometimes they'll be able to get it to come across. This takes a bit of practice to do it successfully. You might want to pinch here and push, pinch here and push. But it's going to depend on the quality of your balloon. Now,
the one thing that you might want to talk about is when you stretch it, because you will feel that on the soft palate.
Right. And that's something that will take practice. So that moment is uncomfortable. You are pushing against a spot in your body that doesn't get touched at all. It doesn't get touched ever. So all of this takes time. It takes a lot of time to learn. To finish it off, we could just go right back out the nose. There's a couple reasons I don't just go right back out the nose. And one of them is I think it looks better to have it pass all the way through. And the second reason is you're less likely to pull it out with a bunch of snot on it. Yeah, as gross as that is. Yeah. As gross as that is, it's true. You want to push all the air out here. Like that.
Slowly pull it out and suck on the balloon as you're sliding it out.
Now, surprisingly, when you do this, it dries off. This isn't wet, this isn't slimy, it isn't sticky or anything at this point. So even though we do have gloves and stuff on our spectator, I still hand it to her. When we make the joke at the end and Amber makes the balloon animal out of this, some people take it, some people don't. Our spectator for this show, she went home with it. So that's up to her.
Also, if you didn't want to use the same balloon, you could have a secondary balloon prepped like this, so you could make them a sanitary one, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything you want to add to the technique behind that?
Making a balloon animal? No. I should probably teach how to make a balloon animal, right?
Behind this. I've been doing this for a lot longer than you, and you had to learn it just for the show that we're currently touring with.
Yeah.
What did you find when you were learning it?
The first time I did it, I puked. But don't give up. It was only the first time, and now I have no problem with it. Balloon animal making with it, it's quite easy. I do it fairly quick. I've been doing balloons for a very long time. But you're pinch twisting there. 1, 2, holding with your pinky and your ring finger will help you hold that in. You're making 3 bubbles, twisting those 2 together, and then you got the cute little head. Going a space. Once again, holding pinky, ring finger, making 2 more. Twisting those together. You're doing it in groups of 3s. Oh. Hey now. I look like a fool. Pinch the uninflated section.
So if you're not going to do the trick, at least now you can make a balloon animal. At least you learned that.
Just a little puppy.
So that's the basics behind it. So have you ever tried doing any kind of blockhead mental floss? I mean, a lot of magicians have tried over years.
I have not.
You've
I
never
have
tried it,
not. Watching you guys talk about it, I still might not. But no, actually, no. Watching a little bit. I mean, this is definitely the most in depth I've ever heard anybody talk about it.
Are you willing to play a little?
Well, right now,
I wouldn't go into that.
Oh, we'll play later.
Play with the can on the finger and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
okay,
with
we'll do
you.
Yeah,
that.
maybe we'll do the can. Yeah, no,
I mean,
but
learning anything with the mental floss with blockhead. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not pretty to learn. It's very, it's gross. I mean, it's like I said. When you look at an act, like somebody doing that, you think, wow, that must be uncomfortable. And learning it is exactly as uncomfortable as you'd think it is.
I mean, I might go home and stick one of those things in my nose, but I'm not sure I'll tell anybody about it if I do. So.
Maybe after this, you can get Ryan to push one in so you can feel the passage.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Oh, that sounded dirty.
It does sound dirty. I don't know.
We'll move on.
Moving on. So what we like to do a long time in our show, we like to go from something really gross.
We didn't do the gloves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess we can touch on that.
Give them gloves. They put it on.
Yeah, they put the gloves on, and that's it. I mean, other than that, at the end, when we take them off, we do 2 simple gags with it. I take the gloves off. I make a joke about them turning inside out, and that way you can use them again for the next person. And then, of course, I'm doing the chance for them to win a prize at the end. Now, this is a joke. We do it a few different ways in our show. We've got, obviously, with their prizes, this gross balloon animal that's been through my nose. We do it sometimes with a condom on stage, and then we end up inflating the condom and putting it on a balloon stick as their prize to take home with them. But what I'm doing...
Paper balls over the head.
Yeah, is Slidini's paper balls over the head.
There is a technique to balling the gloves up, though.
Sure. Yeah, I can go into that. You put one glove inside the other. We're twisting that up.
Creating a little pocket at the entrance, folding it in.
Folding it in, and then giving it a twist again, and folding it over itself, just to make a neat little ball. Well, maybe not that time. Neat little ball. And then we're doing paper balls over the head. I mean, there's a ton of work on this. This is just a little gag that I'm doing in the show, which... I mean, there's lots of ways of doing it. I'm doing just one quick throw, and I'm giving her a chance. Pick a hand. She says right. One more chance, which is another joke that we use. She's wrong. We'll give her a prize anyhow. Send her back to her seat. So, I mean, it takes a little bit of practice to do that. But if you want to learn that, I mean, there's a lot of work on paper balls over the head. So you can look that up for sure. And what we like to do after doing something gross like that is... we definitely have to address that with the crowd. And I think it's important for some of these moments to address to the crowd that...
We understand you're feeling weird. It is gross. You're right. We'll pull it back a moment. And you can also gauge that with the audience, because if they're loving it, they're loving the gross thing, and they're like, yeah! You can be like, okay, we're going to take it up a notch, or you can say, we're going to take it back a notch. Mm-hmm. Same trick, different delivery.
Right. That's a good point. And so what we do is we say... that was a little bit gross. We're going to do a card trick. Whether or not the audience believes this at this point, I don't know. But the card trick that I do, I've been doing for a lot of years, is the mousetrap trick. Now,
You can use any deck of cards. We prefer to use the $5 mark deck just as a great backup. Great product. We do love it a lot.
right, and so what I'm doing with this is during the show I just did a crisscross force because this isn't really a video on card magic, so I figured I'd keep a simple force. And if you guys want to learn your own force, or if you already know your own force, use it. I'll show you just a quick crisscross force that I'm using. On the back of this mousetrap we have a King of Hearts right there.
What I did with this is cut the border off and then glue it directly to it. If you cut just the border off right to the blue line, it fits perfectly on the back of a mousetrap. This one particularly, I did split it, but you don't have to split the card.
Great. And then we have the King of Hearts on the top of the deck. Now that's all we need for the force. Using the marked deck is great because when I pull the deck out of the box, I can see that the King of Hearts is on top and I'm ready to go. I think in the show that we did, I gave it a quick riffle shuffle, just maintaining the top of the card here. Just like that. So we know that it's on top. Again, crisscross force, having the spectator cut it anywhere. She cut the deck, I take the bottom, I cross it over the top, and at this moment is when we introduce the mousetrap. And I think that's a nice moment to take attention away from the deck, kind of forget where the top is, forget where the bottom is.
It's great misdirection.
Yeah, it's a great moment. Introduce the mousetrap.
Now with the mousetrap, you want to make sure to keep the angles hidden. Your hand can actually block it quite well. Down, you don't want to be putting up, don't want to just toss it because it might flip.
Right, don't show that the card is there.
Yeah.
Right. So we have the spectator take a look at her card, which is the King of Hearts. At this point, I'm legitimately shuffling it back into the deck because
You want to lose it.
I'm not finding it. It doesn't matter. I don't have to control it. I don't have to do anything. I'm legitimately shuffling it into the deck. And I'm making the bet that I can snap the mousetrap on my tongue. Or no, that if I don't get the card right, I'll snap the mousetrap on my finger. Now, this first one, I still get it wrong. You can do that any way you want. I think during the show, I just did a quick like top shot thing or whatever like that. But you could
Is
just...
there a way to show the back how you did that?
Well, I'm going to wait. Again, you could find any kind of
Flourish.
videos that Penguin has on card flourishes, things like that. But you could just flip over the card. 8 of spades, was that your card?
No.
No. At this point, we go double or nothing. If I get it wrong the second time, I'll snap the mousetrap on my tongue.
They will never argue if they have that as an option. They will want to 100% see you snap it on your tongue before snapping it on your fingers.
Whether or not they want to, I don't know.
Well.
But we've never had anybody argue it. So again, another card, I think for that one, I did
The suck blow.
yeah, I did again just a card flick and then suck it to my mouth, which is
Not necessary.
not necessary, but again, just a card, flicking the card out of the deck. You could find that on a lot of flourish videos, and I'm sucking it to my mouth. Now, I will say the mousetrap does have a bit of work that goes into it for a couple reasons. Now, I've been doing the mousetrap on the tongue for, I don't even know how long.
24 years.
Yeah, a long time. The first time I did it on television was in 2001, so 18 years ago, for a show called the Jim Rose Twisted Tour, and that was just me snapping a mousetrap on my tongue. Now, the first time I ever did this
At home.
just learning it, when I came up with this idea, and this is your warning, I put the mousetrap into my tongue and it smashed my front teeth out. So the mousetrap is real, and if you don't do it correctly, you'll smash your teeth out. Over the years, this has become a popular stunt. I'd never seen it in sideshow before I started doing it. And after this TV show, people started coming up to me after shows and they said, I tried the mousetrap on the tongue and it smashed out my front teeth. I've met probably 6, 7 people who have showed me where they smashed their teeth trying to put a mousetrap on their tongue. So
Now,
this,
the earliest anybody that we know of has been able to date the mousetrap on the tongue is to Ryan.
so far, but
So far.
again, I have met a guy in Amsterdam named Crazy White Sean who was doing it at the same time as me. So I mean, of course, there is lateral thinking. But one of the things that's important with the trap that I do, which a lot of people don't, is I changed this catch here, or the pan on the trap, because they're usually so sensitive that when you set it down, it might go off. When you're holding it, when you're moving it around, With a regular mousetrap, it's going to go off, and that kind of screws up the act. I mean, you might be able to get a laugh out of it if you do it on
once.
purpose, or if you do it once, but if you have it constantly going off, it becomes clumsy. It becomes silly. So if we got a good lower shot of that, because I'll kind of show you what I do here, is I take a pair of pliers and I just squeeze in this section right here with a pair of pliers. And what that does is it makes this V a little bit deeper of a V. And I also squeeze it back down right there as well. I'm not sure if we have a good shot at that.
Hold it on the side too to show different angles of it.
So I'm just making this V right here a little bit deeper V, so that this has more to catch onto. And that's just a slight subtlety, and it might require playing around with your mousetrap, and it's just a way to make it less sensitive and less likely to go off prematurely. Now, there are a lot of people that are doing mousetrap on the tongue right now, and they're just buying them straight out of the box, snapping them on their tongue. In fact, there's a Guinness World Record for it, held by a good friend of mine named Sweet Pepper Klopek. Most mousetraps snapped on the tongue in a minute.
It's brutal.
And for that, well, they have to be straight out of the box.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you a way to make this a little bit easier. This one has been altered so that it doesn't hurt as bad. And to do that, we actually pry the mousetrap open a little bit. We get this edge pried up just enough. See if I can get it open and try to get a shot of it.
Essentially what you're doing is prying the coil off the bar.
Yeah. Nope, you're not. You're getting the edge open here. Let me see if I can pinch that up. Pinch this one together real good. There we go.
I prep it different than you.
What?
I just pull it off.
You can't.
Oh, I'm prepping ones you've already prepped then.
Yeah.
Damn it.
There we go. So we're getting that side of the bar off, and that allows us to pull this bar out, and you have the spring separate. Now, when you buy these traps, the spring actually is one more around. So when you pull that off, this spring will pop out. It'll be twice as tight as it is right now. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of spreading the spring so that it sits flat rather than being up in a V formation. And you'll see when you take it apart the first time, this spring will be kind of bent like that.
It springs too, does it not?
Yeah, it'll kind of
Safety
spring
glasses.
up and it'll be a lot stiffer. So you want to just kind of fold it back against itself and make it a little bit weaker than it was. And that's all I'm doing with these. To put it back together, once you've weakened your spring, you're just sticking it back in like that. And putting the whole thing back together. Now, I won't squeeze that in case we want to go through that again. Just like that. So that's just a way of weakening it so that it's slightly softer of a hit and doesn't hurt as much. Now,
The angle.
Now here's the important stuff. I'm really snapping a mousetrap on my tongue. This is really happening. So you can expect it to be a solid thwack on your tongue, but there aren't any bones in your tongue to break or anything like that. And I told you, first time I did this, I smashed out my front teeth. So what's important to note, if you were going to attempt this at home, is to keep your lip pulled tight over your top teeth.
Don't smile.
Yeah, do not smile. If you have your teeth showing, the bar is going to be near it. So you want to have your teeth here, and you want to put the trap itself against the bottom lip. So that
The
it's not going to
slight
move.
downward angle on it, because you don't want it straight. The bar is going to hit you.
At this point, you're bringing your tongue to the trap. You're not bringing the trap to your tongue, because that's, again, where you get the problem. If you start moving the trap into your mouth, that's where you could hit your teeth. So I'll show you what it looks like here. Just holding it still. Like that. Now, it doesn't feel great, but it's not doing anything to my tongue. It is a sharp snap. It is scary to do. And before you would ever even attempt something like that, you probably want to get comfortable with your mousetrap. And what I did to get comfortable with the mousetrap is I started by putting my fingers in it. Now I found that by putting my fingers in with my fingers face up rather than nails up,
You're hitting the meaty part instead of the bone.
and it's still a sharp snap. It smarts a bit. It smarts, but it's not excruciating pain. It's not what people think it is. Once you get used to that idea, I did start getting to the point that I was snapping it down. Again, it's a sharp snap, but it's something you get used to over time. It's not bruising me. It's not leaving any marks on me. But
First time you bring it up to your nose, don't actually set the trap.
to your nose?
Or tongue. First time you bring the trap up to your tongue, don't actually set it. Just hold the bar back so you can make sure you have the angle right and release.
Sure, that might be a nice way for some people to learn it, is to be able to just pull it back a little bit and just kind of snap it bit by bit, going farther and farther until they're comfortable with it. Might be a comfortable way of doing it. But I will warn people now, again, should you snap a mousetrap on your tongue? Probably not. I mean, probably shouldn't. I know people have broken their teeth, and it could happen to you. So you want to be extremely cautious if you're going to do this trick.
Take your time learning this one.
Yeah, don't take it for granted. Don't just assume that you're just snapping it on your tongue. You need those angles to be right. You need that to be perfect, or you are going to hurt yourself. Of course, once it is snapped on my tongue, at that moment, I am just lifting up my tongue to show the card. Now, that's the entire trick.
Well, actually, it's not. You would think that the ripping off would hurt, but it doesn't.
No.
It is literally just pulling it. It looks more dramatic. It looks more painful than it is. It actually does a nice emphasis at the end, but it doesn't hurt.
No, it's fine.
Also, if you don't have a partner, you can pull it off yourself.
I like having somebody else pull it off because it just makes her look mean. Yeah.
Brat.
Perfect.
What?
I mean, it was really well explained. You're tipping me over the edge a little bit. I'm like, am I about to go buy mousetraps and balloons and go home later tonight and do this? I don't know, but yeah.
The mousetrap on the tongue is an iffy one. We debated whether we were going to put that in there because we want to make sure people do know, like, I'm not saying, hey, just do this. I'm not calling it safe. I'm not calling it smart.
But we've had enough people come through and just start doing the mousetrap that we thought it was very important to teach the safety behind it, to teach the little tricks that can help it make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's giving me a little confidence to possibly try. Maybe we'll see.
It is a fun one. Always gets a great reaction, no matter what. Even if it's just the mousetrap on the tongue, great reaction.
Yeah.
In our show, in our full theater show, I'm actually I'm not even doing a card trick with it. I mean, it's part of a speech at the beginning of the show where I end up snapping a mousetrap on my tongue.
Well, I mean, yeah, the tension before it actually snaps on your tongue is great. How you delay the actual trap from going off.
Yeah, it gives you that option of doing the tension release. Built-in comedy there.
If you grab that for a second, which is a good point to make. You see a lot of people when they do acts like this, they'll just walk out on stage and they'll just snap it on their tongue. They'll just come out and they'll go, here's a mousetrap, snap.
Yeah, it's the look what I can do presentation.
Yeah,
there's no art to it. There's no...
What I find what people don't use often enough is the built-in tension. And jokes are all about tension and release. And that's what makes things funny. And with Sideshow, with Geek Magic, you have so much built-in tension that it doesn't matter what I say. If I'm like this, I know what you're thinking. And at that point, it doesn't matter what I say. The second I don't snap it and I say something there, and it can be a stock joke like I used in the show, which is, I know what you're thinking. Does he do kids parties? And it's just any kind of moment like that. You can do that 2-3 times with one bit, and you'll find you consistently get a laugh by it because it's just this.
The entire audience butt cheeks are clenched. They're ready for it. They're bracing themselves, and then.
Now, do you have an internal dialogue for this one, or because you look like you're scared to do it, right?
I wouldn't say it's an internal dialogue. More so, I'm gauging the crowd. I'm watching them. I'm trying to build it up as much as they are.
Act like they're acting.
You want to pull as much genuine reaction out of the audience.
Because I also noticed the same thing on the needle through the cheek. You have this great moment where it's right, like physically. You're tight, and then release it through.
Right, and I guess that's similar to a lot of magic. You have to believe it yourself. And like with the skewer, you want to act like like you would act if you were putting it through. I guess it's kind of like if you make a coin vanish, you want to believe that that coin went into your hand. You want to believe that coin's actually vanishing. And that has a lot to do with this kind of stuff as well.
Also, if you're acting like it's no big deal,
Sure.
you don't care, your audience is going to follow suit.
Sure.
No big deal, don't care.
Yeah. Didn't hurt you.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then also at the end of it, it's good to, once again, shake their apprehensions. Everything's fine. We'll move on to something different.
Cool. The can.
The can.
I've been wanting to teach the can for a while, actually. Now,
Here, put that right there. Yeah. Put that front and center.
so the can, I will go, before I go into the can trick, what we did at the beginning, and this was something we actually hadn't done in the show before. We thought of this when we were buying cans to do this trick. I found a can of mixed vegetables, and I just thought it would be a fun gag to ask the audience member to think of any vegetable, and whatever they name, it's a prediction trick, and we pull out the can of mixed vegetables, which is just a gag we thought of while we were shopping for the show. So, and you never know when things are going to strike like that. I didn't even know how it was going to go over. I just thought, you know what, I'm doing the can trick anyhow. Let's give it a shot, see if it gets a laugh.
Now, normally what we do is, without this joke, obviously brand new, we pull the label off because you can see the dent better
You can
on
do it
straight
either
metal.
way, yeah. Now, the can on the finger trick is exactly what it is. I'm really smashing it on my finger. Now, it's a funny thing because we run in the sideshow world, we work in the magic world, and if you asked a sideshow performer about the can on the finger, they would say, oh, the old can on the finger trick. But you ask a magician about it, and you rarely find a magician who's seen the trick.
Yeah.
Even though those two circles are so close to each other, you rarely see it. And it became popularized, I think, people started seeing it in the Jim Rose Circus in the mid '90s. A guy named Matt the Tube Crowley, he put it into his show, and I learned it working in the Jim Rose Circus. When I joined the Jim Rose Circus, Jim taught it to me, and Matt had said he learned it from a friend of his dad's out at a barbecue one afternoon, I think. And I recently, before we came out here, I contacted Matt just to ask him, hey, is that your trick? Can I get permission to perform it? And he said that he learned it from somebody when he was a kid, but it has been released in a book. And we found the book. It's called Close-Up Magic for Beginners. It's from 1972 by a guy named Harry Barron. Close-Up Magic for Beginners. And this is in there. So it's got illustrations and everything. Shocking that it's in there. But it is exactly what you see. You're taking your finger, you're putting it down, and you're smashing a can into it.
Very important. You want to hit this part. You don't want to hit like that. You don't want to hit on an angle, or you will mess your finger up.
Right. So that's what I was just going to say, is you want to hit it dead center right here, and you're hitting this thing hard. I mean, when I did it for the performance here, I hit it hard enough that I didn't just crush in the can, I crushed it in both sides here as well. You can hit it as hard as you want. I've seen people do it to audience members. I don't recommend it. It doesn't, now this isn't extremely painful, but you do feel it. There is some pressure that's going on with it. But I'll go through it one more time again.
Can you equate the pain to something so that they can have a scale, a gauge?
It hurts less than snapping your hand in a mousetrap. Is that a gauge we know? No.
No. If you were to put your hand down and drop a book on the hand.
I don't know. Do we only have the one can here?
No, I have two.
All right.
But I was hoping maybe I want to play.
Well, you want to try this?
You want to smash my? Well, I guess I smashed my finger. Yeah. I'll try this.
Come over here and try it. So,
This is one of Ryan's superpowers, is convincing people to do things.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it's gonna be a long week.
you're gonna put one finger right against the thing.
Okay.
You're gonna take the can.
Yep.
And you want to hit it. So, and again, dead center.
Like that.
And kind of closer to the end there, like that.
You want this shot? Is this good here, guys, or what? This way? Oh God! All right.
And hard.
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Just commit.
And let's see
Nothing.
the dent.
Yeah, I think we got a good dent. Yeah. Look at that. Wow.
It's like you can tell the difference. And like I said, if you do it without the wrapper, it kind of shows
Yeah, and I think probably the harder you hit, maybe the less it would hurt too, right?
Yeah, I think it might.
It's all in physics. It's
Yeah.
absorbing the impact.
I mean, yeah, it's the physics of it that this is kind of a weak spot in the can. And, you know,
Super good.
Scary?
No,
When you're
for a
first
second,
doing it.
For a second, yeah.
And I love it as just a party trick. I mean, I've seen it in huge shows. I've seen it, like, when we were with the Jim Rose Circus, we're performing in theaters for thousands of people. And this stunt is in the show. So I've seen the stunt play for thousands of people, and I've just done it hanging out at a party. You know, you're just like, people go, show me a trick, and you go, grab me a can. And you just do this trick. Now, we've talked about doing all kinds of things with it, from real predictions to having things written onto the label to...
You could do a card inside of that.
You could do all kinds of things with it, but I think it plays, it's a fun gag just to smash the can on your finger.
Now, I'll make one note. You'll notice we have just a regular can. You don't want to use the pop tops unless you want to make a mess, because when you come down, it can go pfft. So regular can, not pop top.
Good note. I've never seen them actually burst open. I've heard they burst open. So maybe we should try that one day.
That's worth trying.
Ooh. This could be fun.
Yeah, it's worth trying. But
turns it into like a Gallagher show, though.
But that's the work on it. Just
hit
do it again.
Just hit your finger.
Keep it center. Here, we'll do it one more time for you. You're keeping it center, and you're hitting it hard.
It looks horrific.
Also, once you've dented a can, do not do it again.
Well, you could do the other side.
Okay.
You can do the other side.
I don't suggest it. Oh.
If you do the other side, you are going to then crush that part in, and then you're going to start to make the can stronger on these edges. Mm-hmm. So if you went to do it there after you've crushed in both sides, it's going to hit you a lot harder. And again, that's just physics. That's just, you're creating now kind of a pointed shape on the end. Not a good idea.
One can, one hit.
Awesome. So that one's very simple to teach.
Absolutely.
And very simple to do. Just don't hit the edge of the can on your finger. Now, the final thing that we did in the show was the popcorn bullet catch. Now, this is based on a trick called the Yogi Beam Stunt, is where you'll often see it called. I think you could find that in the book Swami Mantra. You could find it in several books on Sideshow, on old Freak Show Magic. A lot of this stuff has been out of print for forever. They don't teach it anymore.
Old fakir books as well.
Right. But I think most magicians may have seen it in Swami Mantra is a book that it's in. And it's originally done with a bean. You take a dried bean, and the way it's traditionally performed is you suck the bean up your nose, and then you push it, and it comes out of your eye.
Beans sting, though.
Yeah, well, certain things. We've tried black beans. We've tried a few different, like, white beans. We've tried, like, split peas. But one of the best things to use is popcorn kernels. Now, that's what traditionally you see people use now, if you ever see this trick. I mean, I think Chris Angel has done the popcorn seed out the eye.
Chloe Crawford.
Chloe's done it. But the earliest I can find of anybody actually using popcorn kernels to do it is by John Shaw, which that doesn't date back that far. That's only to the 90s. Yeah. So I could be wrong about that, but that's the earliest we've seen somebody use a popcorn kernel instead of a bean.
Thank you, John, for letting us use that.
And the trick behind the original stunt is it's already in your eyelid. And that's the whole thing. So for the prep that we're doing, because we're using a signed popcorn kernel, is I'm taking a popcorn kernel before the show.
Multiple.
And I am just making kind of a little squiggle, a mark, anything on it, just a little bit of black on it.
2 of them.
There we go. We do 2 of these with a little squiggle, a little mark on it.
Now, with our presentation, Ryan left to get the dangerous prop box so he could set up before. A lot of people that we know actually have it set the entire time. We just prefer not to have that.
Right. So that's why I left stage. I went to get the dangerous prop. When I was backstage, I took the popcorn kernel and I put it into my eye. Now, I normally use a mirror for this, but I mean, if we want to get in tight on that, I can try to do it without a mirror. I'm taking it, I'm pulling my eyelid open. I'm pushing it down into my eyelid like that.
Now when you're picking your kernel, try and find one with a little less of an edge on it, with a little point. You can also bite it off to have it smooth out a little bit more.
Now, putting something in your eye, for some people this is going to be easy. If you've worn contact lenses before, you've touched your eye and it's fine. Some people already do gags where they turn their eyelids inside out. You see the kid on the bus doing that. And some people are very comfortable with things in and around their eyes. I wore contact lenses since I was a kid, so it's not a big deal to me. It's similar to, if you've seen the trick Thread by Wayne Houchin as well, it's a similar thing where he's got something actually in his eye.
Now, if you look, it pops out quite a bit over here. You can reposition it a little bit. It hides it a little better closer to the inner eye, but there you run the risk of it popping out.
Right, and that's one of the reasons that I set mine right before the stunt and I don't have it in for the entire show. For one, it's not terribly uncomfortable, but I'm aware of it. And
also, he's not a good gauge to what's comfortable, what's uncomfortable.
Right. But I'm aware of it being there, and I also, because I get that little bit of a lump there, I don't want that there for the entire show. So we can delve back into a little bit of putting it in after, but should we go through the routine here?
Yep.
So the reason that we put a bit of a mark on it is because when we bring our audience member up, we're having them sign the popcorn seed. Now, there's not much you can write on a popcorn seed. They're going to end up with kind of a black squiggle, an X,
single
maybe
letter.
like a single letter, anything like that. And at a glance from a distance, you can't tell the difference between the squiggle and what they've written on it. They'll be able to tell from up close, but we never give them a chance to do that.
So the one in his eye has a squiggle on it, and then we have a secondary one with a squiggle on it that I have during the show.
So she's holding one in her hand.
Yeah, I'm holding mine just right here at the very end of the middle finger and slightly bending just to pinch it
Palms
in there.
easily. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, we bring up an audience member. We each have ours. Amber's got hers palmed. I've got mine hidden in my eye. We bring an audience member up, have her select a popcorn seed. At this point, I ask her to memorize that popcorn seed. Would she recognize it? Some people play along. They say yes. I think our spectator yesterday said no. I still tell her to drop it in, mix it around. Was that your popcorn seed? Just a fun little gag there. The point is she needs to sign it. So I hand it to her. Again, you could use the joke I use, which is sign your name in full across the popcorn seed. Obviously not possible to do.
I did a B.
You did a what?
Kind of a B.
Sure. Now, we've got the squiggle on there. Now, at this point, that's all. The spectator is going to recognize what she wrote on there, but to the audience members, they can't tell the difference. So I come in close with this. Oh.
Can you see which one's yours?
Now I can tell the difference. See
Yeah.
how that works? Yeah. When I come to the audience, I actually tuck that popcorn seed kind of into my hand here, like that. See if we can get a shot of that. So it's just kind of tucked in here, and I want the squiggle the audience member drew to be visible. So then I walk to the front of the audience, and I show them so they can all see the signed popcorn seed, like that. I come over to Amber.
Once again, mine's pinched in there. I come in, pretend to grab that, and actually bring the fake one that I already have, to my fingertips, so you looks like I have the same signed
And
corn.
she's still showing the audience this at this point because they'd have no idea what our spectators just drew on there. So she's still showing the audience, and I'm coming into the bag of balloons. Now, at this point, I'm inflating the balloon tight. You want to get the balloon as inflated as possible.
Now the actual signed corn is still in there.
Still in my hand. Now, you guys can, as far as the gags and the byplay that we have there, I mean, you can watch the footage of that. We do a few gags in that with the countdown, 1, 2, 3.
I pretend to inhale a piece of corn.
And there's a lot of byplay there that you can play around with. We have Amber try to hit a water bottle on stage, and that's just a nice chance so people can see that it's hard to see it fly across stage. They understand that it's flying.
I'll go through that real quick. Regular, this is a McDonald's straw. I put it here with my tongue on the edge so I don't drop the popcorn kernel all the way back. Once again, this is not the signed one. This is for me proving that it works. Drop it in and blow.
Yeah, that was one thing that was interesting when you were doing it here because you probably can't hear it at home, but there's a curtain over there.
Yeah.
So it actually sounds kind of devastating when it smacks the curtain on the other side.
It gets a really
it
great
actually
sound.
Sounds sharp.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not that bad.
No.
I can shoot you with it if you want to feel it.
I guess I'm okay.
So at this point, I've got one in my eye. This is just one with a squiggly mark on it. I've got the actual signed one palmed right here in my hand, and Amber's got another fake one across the stage. I hold the balloon in front of my face. Now, we've played around with several ways of popping this balloon. Because when Amber fires that seed, she's not actually firing it. She's going to keep it in her mouth.
I cheek it.
So you're going to show them?
I put it in, load it the same way, tongue at the end. Once I feel that on the end of my tongue, I let it fall in my mouth and shoot it to the other side cheek. That's just so I'm not actually shooting a projectile at him. Don't want to hit him in the eye. Bad idea.
So Amber's firing nothing. Now, we've played around with a few ways of popping it. I've done things where I've got a pin in my mouth, and as it come up, I'm popping it by pushing it against the pin. For the show we did earlier, I'm just squeezing the balloon, and that's it. When we count down, we fire. I'm just squeezing the balloon, and I'm popping it at the same time. You could also do it with a pin, a tack. You could do it. You could do it all kinds of ways.
We wanted to simplify it as much as possible, but those are options.
So she brings it up. Want to do it on a real countdown here? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, and then we'll hit. Yep.
Sure.
Any gag, you can throw in whatever you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, all that fun stuff. But 1, 2, 3, on fire. I fire. Not really.
And again, I'm telling them I'm going to catch it in my mouth like a bullet catch. 1, 2, 3. Now, at this point, I've just squeezed it, I popped it, I bent over, I'm reacting.
They're expecting it to be in their mouth.
It's not, and I go, it's not in my mouth. It's not in my mouth. I should have worn goggles. It's in my eye. Now at this point, there is one in my eye. So I can come forward here, and as I start to pull it down, you can actually see it start to come out my eye. Now, before I get that out of my eye, remember that this one is still right here in my hand. So I'm doing kind of a Ramsey subtlety with the spectator here, strangely enough, that I'm kind of keeping this angle so that she can't see the corn that's in my hand. And I'm letting this top one fall into my hand here. So she sees it drop down. I can see the difference between the two. I'm pulling out the signed one, handing it to her as I drop the fake one down to my side. I think yesterday I dropped it into my back pocket as I handed it to her. She takes a look at it. She sees it's her squiggle, her B, her mark on there. Mm-hmm. And that's the signed popcorn seed. So.
Now the one I have in my mouth, it is a food product, so I just swallow it.
Yeah, so that's the basics behind it. The hardest part for people is obviously going to be putting a popcorn seed in your eye. Now this is, I don't have any work to not be able to do that. That's the trick to it. You're going to want to pull your eye open, you're going to want to push the popcorn seed in, and you're going to want to be very careful with this. Your eye is sensitive. There is a chance of scratching your eye. If you're looking down, you can scratch your cornea. You want to be kind of looking up, keeping your pupil, keeping your iris away from the area. Be looking up, pull the eyelid out, push it down into there as carefully as you can.
Same with when you're letting it pop out. Look slightly up.
You'll find once it's in your eye that it's not that uncomfortable. It sits there fairly comfortably. And pulling it out of your eye, again, will take practice. You probably want to sit in the mirror, pulling your eyelid down, and kind of pushing up with your fingers to wiggle it out. The slower you can get it to pop out of your eye, the more visceral it is, the grosser it looks. And this is geek magic. That's what you want. You want those reactions. You want it to look gnarly.
That was our act.
Oh, it was...
Any questions?
Well, no. I just love the idea that you got all of this stuff at Walmart, right?
Cheap, quick, easy.
Yeah. Is this case anything special? Or the glass
this is just a case that we brought in. You can get lunch boxes. It doesn't have to be a Pelican case, obviously. The case itself was ours, not from Walmart.
The only reason we have the case here, and that was because I left stage and I wanted something to come back with, rather than come back with balloons and some popcorn seeds and stuff. So this could be any case.
Sure.
We felt this looked like an audience may think it contains a gun until
We
it's
don't know.
open.
We're Canadian, so we
Yeah.
don't know what your gun cases look like.
No, and that, yeah, again, if you wanted to buy a lunchbox or you wanted to buy a piece of Tupperware or something at Walmart or even like a bag or anything, and that was just a reason for me to leave stage. I'm going to get the dangerous prop. Amber's going to find the audience member, and that gives me, I literally, right behind the curtain, I had a mirror set up, very little light. I just had a little tiny mirror. I just popped it in.
Yeah, I remember you were
practice.
back there for just a half a minute there.
Yeah,
It was,
so
yeah.
very simple to do.
Now, the more you practice putting things in your eye, the quicker you're going to get at popping it in. So.
Sure.
But also, if you wanted to have it preset, it does settle a little more, and the bump does end up getting smaller.
Oh yeah, we know people who will keep it in their eye the whole show. And
Yeah, they'll do a whole hour show with a thing in their eye.
I prefer not to.
Yeah. Well, no, it was great. I mean, you guys have anything else to say? Any parting words? Any safety talk for the people out there?
safe.
The general safety talk is, I mean, a lot of this stuff is stupid. It's stupid. I mean, that's the idea behind it. It looks dangerous because some of it is.
Yeah, it is all. Well, but it was so much fun to watch you guys perform it. And thank you for giving us the confidence to maybe go out and try some of this stuff. Because I think I'm going to when I get home. So.
Oh, I'm excited.
At least
But
smash a
you
can
guys
on
are
your
here for,
finger.
yeah, I know, yeah. I'm already bleeding over it. No, it's fine.
How is your finger, by the way?
That's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Totally fine. Yeah, we're good. I'll never double lift again, but it'll be good. No, it's,
Just learn with a different finger.
Yeah. We got a whole long week ahead of us, so who knows? Anything's possible at this point. But thank you guys so much for coming.
you.
Thank you.
were great.
Thank you.
Fantastic
Thank you.
show. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Keep it going for AmberLynn and Ryan Stock. Come on!